In today's world, few figures are as iconic as a musician at the height of their career. While movie stars may come close in charisma, no Hollywood idol can rival the electric power of Jimi Hendrix, nor can any celebrity couple match the enchanting harmony of Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Throughout the year, we have heard many stories related to musicians that either seem exaggerated or untrue. So in this video, we will discuss 12 urban legends about famous musicians that seem false but are true. 12. Aussie Osborne really bit the head off a bat. This is the mother of all rock legends that turned out to be true. The year was 1982, and Aussie Osborne was on tour for his Diary of a Madman album. During a performance at the Veterans Memorial Auditorium in Des Moines, Iowa, a fan tossed what appeared to be a rubber bat onto the stage. In a moment of rock star bravado, Osborne picked up the bat and, thinking it was fake, bit into it. To his horror, he soon realized that the bat was very much real. After that, Osborne was rushed to the hospital and had to undergo a series of rabies shots to prevent any potential health complications. He endured weeks of discomfort, receiving injections in various parts of his body every night for the remainder of the tour. Despite the initial shock and outrage, the bat-biting incident became a defining moment in Ozzy Osbourne's storied career. It added another layer of intrigue to his persona as a boundary-pushing rock star willing to push the limits of convention. 11. Aerosmith refused to fly on the plane that later crashed. In the world of rock and roll, fate often hangs by a thread, and sometimes seemingly little decisions can have serious consequences. One such instance occurred in 1977 when Aerosmith narrowly avoided a tragic fate involving a plane that later crashed, claiming the lives of several members of Lynyrd Skynyrd. On October 20th, 1977, a Convair 240 crashed outside Gillsburg, Mississippi, killing several passengers, including 3 members of Lynyrd Skynyrd and their assistant road manager. Aerosmith had considered chartering the same type of plane for their own use, but ultimately decided against it. In an interview, Aerosmith guitarist Joe Perry vaguely mentioned that concerns over the flight crew led them to look elsewhere for transportation. While specifics remain scarce, it's believed that Aerosmith's tour manager had explored the possibility of chartering a plane similar to the one later involved in the tragedy. 10. Charles Manson helped write a Beach Boys song. In the music industry, some stories are stranger than fiction. One such tale involves the unlikely association between the Beach Boys and the notorious cult leader Charles Manson. In the late 1960s, Manson, an aspiring musician with dreams of fame, crossed paths with Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys. Wilson, captivated by Manson's charisma, allowed him and his followers, known as the Family, to stay at his home. Manson even presented Wilson with a song called Cease to Exist, hoping for a shot at musical success. However, Wilson made significant changes to the song, renaming it Never Learn Not to Love, and recording it with the Beach Boys. Manson, displeased with the alterations and lack of credit, reportedly sent Wilson a bullet as a warning. Despite Manson's involvement, the Beach Boys released the song with sole writing credit attributed to the band. Wilson, perhaps haunted by the association, refused to discuss his relationship with Manson in later years. 9. Smoke on the Water is based on a true story. You've probably heard Deep Purple's legendary tune Smoke on the Water, with its unmistakable guitar riff that's become an anthem for rock enthusiasts worldwide. But did you know that behind the catchy melody lies a real-life event that inspired the song? On December 4th, 1971, a shocking incident happened at the Montreux Casino during a performance by Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. It wasn't just another concert mishap, it was a night that left its mark on music history. As the concert was underway, chaos erupted when a member of the audience fired a flare into the casino's ceiling. The innocent act quickly spiraled into a catastrophic fire, engulfing the venue in flames and reducing the entire complex to ashes. Deep Purple happened to be in the area at the time, recording an album. Witnessing the incident happening before their eyes, they couldn't help but be moved by the surreal scene of smoke on the water and fire in the sky. This surreal moment would later serve as the inspiration for one of their most iconic songs. Smoke on the Water immortalizes the events of that fateful night with its lyrics painting a vivid picture of the chaos and destruction witnessed by the band. 8. John Lennon was investigated by the FBI. You might have heard rumors about John Lennon being investigated by the FBI, but did you know that this urban legend is actually true? In 1971, when Lennon visited New York to meet with anti-war activists, little did he know that his actions would land him in the crosshairs of the FBI. Shortly after his visit, the FBI began keeping a close eye on Lennon, putting him under surveillance due to his association with radical anti-war groups. The Immigration and Naturalization Service even attempted to deport him the following year. Professor John Wiener, who dedicated years to uncovering Lennon's FBI file, revealed the extent of the problems Lennon faced. For 2 years, Lennon lived under the constant threat of deportation, with the INS issuing orders for him to leave the country every 60 days. Thanks to his legal team, Lennon managed to avoid being expelled from the United States. The FBI, initially reluctant to disclose its files on Lennon, claimed national security concerns as a reason for withholding information. However, historian John Wiener's persistence paid off, as his Freedom of Information case eventually made its way to the Supreme Court. Finally, after 14 years of legal battles, the FBI agreed to settle, shedding light on Lennon's surveillance. 7. Before going on stage, Dave Gayan used to take naps in coffins. Well, believe it or not, this urban legend is actually true. During the band's 1993 devotional tour, Gayan was allegedly going through a vampire phase, embracing the darker side of life. As a humorous prank, a coffin was delivered to him while the band was touring in South America. And what did Gayan do? He reportedly took naps in it before shows. But the vampire phase didn't stop there. According to British journalist Andrew Perry, Gayan once jokingly attempted to put a curse on him by pretending to bite his neck. While Gayan himself couldn't recall the incident, he admitted it could very well be true. In a 2001 interview with Uncut magazine, Gayan revealed just how deep his vampire obsession went, mentioning that even his bed in Los Angeles was shaped like a coffin. 6. Michael Jackson probably wrote a song for Sonic the Hedgehog. 3. Prepare to dive into a world where music, gaming, and pop culture collide, as it has been rumored that Michael Jackson probably wrote a song, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. The story begins in 1994 with the release of Sonic 3, which featured 3 tracks that bore striking similarities to Jackson's later music. Jackson's connection to Sega, the company behind Sonic, adds fuel to the fire. After all, he collaborated with Sega on the 1990 Moonwalker video game and even visited the Sega Technical Institute in 1993, showcasing his fondness for the Sonic franchise. Despite Sega's denial of Jackson's involvement in the game's soundtrack, the plot thickens with revelations from 3 of the game's credited songwriters, including Brad Buxer, Jackson's keyboardist and musical director. Buxer confirmed that he and Jackson collaborated on the game, using samples of Jackson's beatboxing to create cues for the soundtrack. 5. Billy Joel's front row gesture for real fans. You might have heard the heartwarming tale about Billy Joel giving away the front row seats at his concerts to his most devoted fans, but is it really true? Well, according to the Piano Man himself, it most certainly is. In a 2014 interview with Billboard, Billy Joel revealed his motivation behind reserving the front row seats for fans who couldn't afford the pricier tickets. He explained that for years, scalpers would snatch up the front row seats and resell them at exorbitant prices, leaving the seats occupied by well-to-do spectators who lacked the enthusiasm and spirit of true fans. Joel, disheartened by the sight of these gold chainers puffing on cigars and expecting to be entertained, decided to take action. He wanted to know where the real fans were, and he soon discovered that they were often tucked away in the cheap seats at the back of the venue. These were the passionate individuals who truly appreciated the music and weren't afraid to show it. So, Joel and his team made a bold move. They began holding the front row tickets, and when the audience started trickling in, they plucked fans from the worst seats and brought them forward to the coveted front row. This way, Joel ensured that those closest to him were the ones who would truly appreciate the experience, cheering, singing along, and immersing themselves in the music. 4. Graham Nash. Write a song, just a song, before I go on a $500 bet dough. Well, believe it or not, this urban legend is actually true. It all began in 1977 when Nash found himself in Maui, with an hour to spare before catching his flight. He was staying with a friend who happened to be a marijuana dealer, and in a casual conversation, the friend challenged Nash's songwriting skills, betting $500 that he couldn't write a song just before leaving. Nash, never one to back down from a challenge, accepted the bet and sat down at the piano to compose the song. In just 15 minutes, he crafted Just a Song Before I Go in a stream of consciousness style. Despite the pressure of the bet and the impending airport departure, Nash effortlessly penned the song, which would go on to become Crosby, Stills, and Nash's biggest hit. Remarkably, Nash didn't change a single note when the band recorded the song later on. Even more intriguing is the fact that the song was written just before a violent hurricane struck the island, adding an extra layer of drama to the story. 3. Prince went door to door to convert people. In 2001, Prince, known for his steamy lyrics and extravagant lifestyle, made a surprising transformation and became a devout Jehovah's Witness. Despite his fame and success, he embraced a non-hedonistic lifestyle in line with his beliefs. One incident in Minnesota in 2003 captured the attention of many when a woman opened her door to find Prince himself standing there, introducing himself as Prince Nelson. Alongside another musician, he engaged in a discussion about Jehovah and shared passages from the Bible. Although the encounter left the homeowner feeling somewhat bewildered, she described Prince as very kind during their conversation. This wasn't an isolated incident. Reports suggest that Prince engaged in door-to-door evangelism on multiple occasions, sometimes even donning disguises to remain inconspicuous. Despite his celebrity status, those he preached to reportedly listened respectfully and even welcomed his message without recognizing him. While some may have found the experience a bit uncomfortable, with Prince being described as intense by one reporter, he remained committed to fulfilling his religious obligations. Despite his fame and fortune, Prince was dedicated to sharing his faith with others, even if it meant knocking on strangers' doors. 2. Tupac's friends smoked his ashes. You may have heard the strange rumor that members of Tupac Shakur's group, the Outlaws, smoked his ashes after he died in 1996. Well, believe it or not, this urban legend is actually true. In 2011, members of the Outlaws finally admitted to participating in the bizarre act, shedding light on Tupac's unconventional last wishes. According to band member Edie Amin, Tupac's lyrics in the song Black Jesus hinted at his desire for his ashes to be smoked. Although Tupac never explicitly told them outside of the song lyrics, the Outlaws took the words seriously and decided to fulfill what they believed to be his final request. After Tupac was cremated, they held a memorial for him on the beach where they indulged in activities he loved, such as eating chicken wings, drinking orange soda, and, of course, smoking weed. During the memorial, the Outlaws combined some of Tupac's ashes with marijuana and smoked it, symbolizing Tupac flowing through their system, as they put it. While the group maintains that Tupac would have approved, the revelation came as a surprise to Tupac's family, who were unaware of the act. Tupac's family released a statement expressing their shock at the revelation, emphasizing that his mother, who was present at the memorial, would not have allowed it if she had known. While they did not accuse the Outlaws of lying, they made it clear that they did not support the act. 1. Waylon Jennings jokingly told Buddy Holly he hoped his plane crashed, and it did. Waylon Jennings, a member of Buddy Holly's band, The Crickets, was set to join Holly on the ill-fated flight from Mason City, Iowa to Fargo, North Dakota on February 3, 1959. However, he gave up his seat to J.P. Richardson, also known as the Big Bopper. As fate would have it, the plane carrying Holly, Richardson, and Richie Valens crashed shortly after takeoff, claiming the lives of all three musicians and the pilot. Jennings, who had opted to take the bus with the rest of Holly's band, recalled a chilling exchange with Holly before the flight departed. Holly jokingly remarked to Jennings, "Well, I hope your old bus freezes up. It's 40 below out there and you're gonna get an awful cold." In response, Jennings quipped, "Well, I hope your old plane crashes." These words would haunt Jennings for the rest of his life, as they tragically became a reality when Holly's plane crashed later that night. The weight of his words and the devastating loss of his friend and fellow musicians weighed heavily on Jennings. This brings us to the end of our video. Hope you like our video. We'd really appreciate your support. If you could lend us a hand by following us, clicking on the bell icon for notifications, and leaving your valuable comments. It would mean a lot to us. Sending you warm regards from our corner of the world. Take care and goodbye for now.